Hello and welcome to Living with Mary J. So glad that you are here with us today. We have a fabulous show and I'm very excited about it. We're talking about your talents, your gifts given to God, given from God to you, and using those gifts to be a success, to make a success, however you're going to say it, but with the talents and with your gifts, you can be very successful. Okay, so just stay where you are and I will be right back. Hello and welcome back. Like I said earlier, today we are speaking about using your talents to be successful. But we're going to have to talk about what exactly is success, because what's successful in your eyes may not be the same as what's successful in my eyes. Now, some people think that success means having a whole lot of money, life is easy, and you have no worries at all. And then some people view success, like me, it's just doing what you want to do in life, and yet not worrying about, well, I guess basically living paycheck to paycheck, that you're able to take care of family, take care of yourself, put something aside for the rainy day, and just being healthy. That's what success means to me. Now, to be successful, unless you've been born with a silver spoon in your mouth, we have to work. I know I have to work. And most of the time when people are working, in most cases, they're doing what they like to do. And then some people, of course, dread their jobs and they don't enjoy working at all. But if we zone in on the talents that God gave us, and that's what this show is really about, zoning in the talents that God has given you. And once you zone in on those talents, then you can use those talents to be successful. And you may be asking, Mary J., what are you talking about? Let me explain it. For instance, I'm a cook, and I think I cook very well. And my husband's always telling me, oh, when I bake something, let's say I make a mean chocolate chip cookie. And when he bites into it, he's like, oh, this cookie is so good. You should sell this cookie. Other people need to have this cookie. And I'm thinking to myself, at first, when he was telling me this, I think, oh, this cookie's not that good, or I'll look at it. Of course, it was a pretty cookie. I poured a lot of love and attention into making it, having the finest ingredients, and I did enjoy cooking it. I mean, I enjoy going into the kitchen, preparing treats, but I never really thought about making money off of what I'm gifted at doing. And then you may be saying, well, it's not necessarily a gift. You can kind of work into your way of learning how to cook. I mean, after all, they have recipe books. But you can have the same recipe, and it doesn't mean, well, what I mean is several people can have the same recipe, but that cookie may not come out the same, because it's all about the stirring. It's all about the love that you may have while you're cooking. And so then you come up with a product, in my case, this chocolate chip cookie, that's very good, that someone enjoys. And I've actually have sold my chocolate chip cookies to other people. But I also give a lot away to family, and family and friends. So sometimes it's not about just making money, but if you're using the word, as I said, being successful, of course you want to make money. And you have to, what I'm saying is, make sure that you are using your talents and your skills given to you by God. Not everyone can make a good cookie, or not everyone has the talent that God has blessed you with. And so you can be successful using the talents that God has given you. A lot of people work, as I said, and they're doing jobs that they may dread, but yet these same people have a talent. They have a gift from God that they can zone in and be successful by using that talent. Now, I'm going to use my husband, for instance, and one day you guys are going to meet him. I'm going to have a show where I'm going to bring him here and let you meet him. But he is an artist, a successful artist in a sense that I'm saying successful, but if he comes here, he may say something different. And then someone else may view him as a struggling artist. So as I said, success is on different levels. It just depends what you view as success, as opposed to what other people may view as successful. Now, I think he's successful in a sense that he's gifted with creating art. He pretty much any medium that you give him, from oil or paints or clay, pencils, he can use that to create a pretty wonderful, beautiful piece of artwork. And he's been doing this for years, and he just loves creating. And so he's using this gift. Now, if you give me some paint or pencils, I can't draw a stick person. I literally cannot draw a stick person. My son, he laughs at me whenever I'm sitting down and I'm like helping him with his homework, or we're just spending some time together and we're drawing things, and he's like, "Oh, Mom," he laughs at me because I cannot draw. But then if my husband enters the room, he draws a rose with such ease because this is a gift and a skill to him. And so he's zoned in, my husband has zoned in this, and he's zoned into his gift given to God of creating artwork, and he's successful in that. That's his business. He's self-employed, using his gift, using his talents. So what I'm trying to say, or just to you, or to convince you this evening, today, is that I want you to zone into what you're good at so that you can be successful. So when you go to work, in some cases, when you go to work, it's your work, it's your office, it's your space where you are creating something that other people want, that you can either sell and make money, and make as much money as you want to be successful to the point that you think is successful. Now, you may say, well, I don't know what I can do, because a lot of us don't. As I continue on today, I'll tell you, God gives us so many talents that sometimes we do get confused. We don't know what we are good at or what we should pursue. Because if I look at me, as I said, I cook, I sing. Now my husband, there again, you're going to have to meet this wonderful guy. He really, I guess he's really in love with me, because a lot of times when I do different things, he's like, "Oh, you're good at this, you should do this." The other talent that God has given me is singing. I love to sing, and sometimes when I sing, if my husband hears me singing, he's like, "Oh, you're so good at this. You should sing at weddings, or you should make a recording, and you should sell it and sing Christmas songs, make a Christmas album or an album for a birthday." I mean, he's constantly thinking of ways in which I can promote myself. On everything that I do, he's coming out of his mouth, he's like, "You can do this, you can do this." And that, in a sense, is a talent. Now that I'm talking to you about it, I see that as a talent that not all of us even think of ways in which people can make money. You're not thinking, I never think about that, but he does. So I have this talent of talking, because I'm doing this talk show, of course. I have the talent of baking. I know how to sew, and I'm going to tell you more about sewing in a little bit. I write, and then with writing, sometimes I'm scared to say that, because I am a good writer, and I'm not really using that writing capabilities or talent that God has given me to go as far as I know God wants me to. So I'm confessing today to you. And that's what we have to realize, is that sometimes we have this talent and we don't zone in it. And we just know that we should be using it. We just know in our, what they say, our gut or our stomach and our heart, that we should be using this talent. As I said, writing. I've been writing since I was in high school. My high school teachers were always compliment, "Mary, this writing is good. You got to do this. You got to do this with it." And I never zone into it. So this show is actually about me as well, and I hope that it helps you. Because after all, I said, right? This is Living with Mary J. And so this is part of my life. So now I'm thinking about Mary J. I'm going to have to do something with this writing, because that's a talent, and I know that I can be successful. And the interesting thing about this is that sometimes God will put different people in your lives to show you what you should be doing. And one day I must have met maybe 3 different writers. I was at the ATM, and of all places, I'm speaking to this lady, and we just started this conversation. She told me she was up here in Atlanta to do a public speaking job. And I asked her, "Well, what are you going to speak on?" She says, "My book." And she started telling me about writing a book and publishing a book and how easy it was to do. And I left that conversation thinking, oh, that's what I should do. I should get all my notes together and then I should write. Of course, I haven't done that. So hopefully in the future, I'll be able to do that too. Because we need to zone in on our talents. And so just in case you're not concerned, or not necessarily the word is concerned, just in case you don't know what your talents are, you should just ask yourself and trust. If you're not sure about yourself, then you can ask someone else, someone that you trust. As I said, my husband, because I really trust him. I can ask him, baby, what am I good at? And then he'll tell me, he's like, okay, you know what? You're good at baking. I love your chocolate chip cookies. You make wonderful cakes. Now, I'm not too good at baking things like biscuits and pie crusts, but I think I'm pretty good at baking. I've sold, as I said, some cookies and some cakes. So that is one talent. So if you're not sure, when you question yourself what you're good at, find that trusted individual, someone that you can trust and believe in, someone who's positive, not someone who's going to pull you down and be very negative, because you can find those people who are negative. Please believe me. Mary J is telling you, when you go to someone to talk to someone and asking them something about your life, it has to be someone that you trust, someone who has your best interests in mind. Okay, so ask, what am I? The first question is, ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I do with ease that it seems like no one else can do? And if you have an answer at that moment, then that's what it is. That's what you're good at. Now, some of us are going to need to take it a little bit further than just asking, because I just mentioned to you that I'm good at, that I know of 3 different things, probably 4. I'm good at that, but I don't know which one in particular. Even at this age, I don't know which one in particular that I should be zoning in right now to make money. As I said, I'm sitting here talking to you. So you're asking someone, what are you good at? A trusted friend. And you now have zoned in that this is easy for you to do, then this is something that you need to do. The thing that you can accomplish something that no one else seems to do, like in my family, for instance, going back to the cooking, is that my mother was a great cook, and she had 3 daughters. Out of the 3, I cooked mostly almost identical to my mom. And people are always saying, you know what, you cook so well, make the dressing for me. Every Thanksgiving, I'm making the dressing. And and why I'm saying this is because it's done with ease. When I get in the kitchen, it's like chop, 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 chop. I'm chopping those vegetables, I'm stirring, I'm having fun. And I'm sure if I wanted to, I could probably just sell my dressings to different people, my dressing, and make some money on that. So it's like whatever you do with ease, just kind of zone in that and put it out there. Let people know that this is what I do. And most people are going to take you up on it because they can't do it. So that is using your talent, okay? Now, let's just say that you're finding out what you like to do and you want to be successful on this, okay? So what you want to do is make sure, as I said, my husband is good at trying to come up with what you should do and what you should sell to be successful. You need to make sure you have a personality to really pursue this. Okay? A lot of times we think that we're good at some things and we possibly can be good at it, but we got to really think about, will our personality fit this particular job? For instance, I'm going to use my middle sister, Carolyn. I'm going to say her name. I hope she's not mad at me. But Carolyn she's different than, well, I don't want to say different. She has this little mean streak in her. Okay, she loves people in a way, she does, but it's easy for someone to get on her nerves. She can't take, her temperament is very short. And so Carolyn's good at sewing, and she sews things for people. So, but I have to be the face of it in a way. What I mean is I'll talk to some of her clients for her. I'll help her out and in that sense. But you give Carolyn the thread, the fabric, and the needle, and the sewing machine, she can go to town on sewing and producing this product. But when it comes to maybe working with people, because sometimes, there was this lady, for instance, and she wanted this dress. And Carolyn sewed the dress, and she met all the measurements, but then the lady I guess, gained a few extra pounds. And Carolyn had written down the measurements and she made the dress perfectly. But the lady had gained some pounds. And so when the lady came to get the dress was all fitting very tightly on her. So she just kind of snapped really quickly. She's like, you didn't make this dress like I wanted you to. And Carolyn was like, yes, I did. Here are the measurements right here. And if we measure, here it is. And sure enough, the dress was made to the size of what it should have been. It's just the lady had gained a few pounds. But boy, my sister just couldn't handle that. She just didn't have the personality to be a people person, to really deal with that part of the business, so to speak. So we really have to check our personalities and say, well, hey, are we good at this? Or if I'm good at sewing, then I should have someone else to handle the clients on another angle. So find your strength, find what your personality will handle, and that's what you'll have to zone in and do. As I said, some of us are not people persons. That's why you have some people that like to work alone, and they know they like to work alone. I had a friend who said, you know what? I can do this job, but I've got to be the only person in the office. I just can't have anybody else around me. I just don't like people. And so you know that. You know what you are. You know what type of person you are and what you can handle. So always check your personality, because if you don't, you'll probably be looking at failure in a few months, weeks, maybe years, okay? And so let's say you're really trying to find out exactly what your talents are. For me, as I said, I probably have 4 or 5 talents, maybe more. But I think majorly I can think of 4. And so I don't want to spread myself too thinly on things. And that's something you've got to remember. You don't want to spread yourself too thin on something. So you want to just really track down that one in particular. So I stress to you, or I urge you to just write down everything that you do. Just keep a journal. And just try to see if there's a pattern of things that you're just doing over and over again. And when you're doing these things over and over again, if you're good at doing these things, and you've got to be honest with yourself. Am I good at this? Do I enjoy it? You really have to answer that. You don't have to say, well, maybe I can make it work. I mean, I've heard people say this. Maybe I can make it work. Maybe if I hang in there long enough, I'll begin liking it. I mean, how many times have you heard people say that? Even when it comes to other things, even like relationships, for instance. But we're going back to using your talents. They'll say, maybe if I do it long enough, I'll be good at this. I don't think so. I don't think so. You got to know, you're talking about your life. So you got to know for sure that this is what you want to do. I hate to say for the rest of your life, but during your working years, this is something that you want to do because you're investing your time. You're investing your effort. So you've got to make sure that this is something that you want to do. So keep that journal. Write down at least 5 things. Why? Then you go back and you say, well, why am I good at this? Why do I want to do it? And if you answer it and it sounds okay, then go for it. Okay? Now, if you're still struggling with what it is, what you want to do, just have an open mind to what your talents are, what people are saying about the things that you're doing. Have an open mind. As I said, my husband was saying that I'm good at baking and that I should bake. And of course, I didn't have an open mind with him. I got to tell you, I was like, no, I'm not. So I'm not even baking now. But I mean, I bake for my family dinners, but maybe I should. Maybe I should sell some of my cookies or my pound cakes or they say I make a mean carrot cake. So maybe I should do that. Now that I'm talking about it, like I said, this is Living with Mary J. So I'm talking to myself today, and hopefully what I'm saying will help you. Now, I've always got to tell you a little bit what other people are saying. Business Insider magazine, in August the 15th, they said that most people the more people like what they're doing, the greater is their success. And they did this survey, and it said that, I don't have the numbers exactly, but they were saying that people who are not performing in life, not successful, there we go with the word successful in life, I guess people who are on the low pay scale, they're not happy with their jobs. But people who are successful, they like their jobs. They like what they're doing. So it is so important. I think they said there was a great number, 70% of the people surveyed who are poor or on the lower range of the pay scale are people who do not like what they're doing. And that's just, to me, it was like, boom, I see it. You got to like what you're doing to be a success. And also, not only a success, but to be successful on the job. You've got to like what you're doing. Now, I'm also a school teacher, and I was talking to someone just today. I was telling her what I like doing, and she says, wow, I'm glad you like your job, because I have these stories on and on about the students and about the school, and there's this glow in my face when I'm talking about it. And I tell my kids at school, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm teaching you, and I love what I'm doing. I think about you probably when you're not thinking about yourself. I'm planning what I'm going to do with you, what I'm going to say when I come here, and I enjoy it. So I would say that's my talent. That's one of my gifts that I've zoned in on right now. So I enjoy teaching. Now, teaching may not be the profession that's going to bring me a whole lot of success monetarily, but it brings me a success that I'm happy with my life. I'm content with it, what I'm doing now. So you got to remember that. Now, Steve Jobs, he said that people who do great work enjoy what they're doing. So to do great work, you've got to enjoy what you're doing. It's very, very important. Now, if you do all of these things that I've just talked to you about, you zone in on the talents that God has given you, your life will be a success. And there again, as I said, you've got to remember what I said about being successful. What is success to you may not be what is successful to me. And I'm not talking about being a millionaire or a billionaire. If you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, then you really push yourself really hard. But if you just say, you know what, I just want an average life, live in an average size house, drive an average size car, and just enjoy my family and just have, if that's your dream and that's your view of success, then you can be by doing utilizing the gifts, the talents that God has given you. So let's say, some people say, well, what do you mean? I don't think that a talent, I'm good at, let's just say, I'm good at fixing cars. Is that really a talent? Or is that really a gift? I think it is. Not everyone can fix a car. Not everyone has the mentality to fix a car or repair an engine or whatever it is. That is your gift. So whatever it is, you do it the best that you can. And then if you're working for someone at an auto place, then maybe you continue to work for them. But then maybe on the side, to make extra money, you make your own business card and you pass it out to a few people saying, hey, if you need an oil change, call me. And then they call you, and so you've got a few dollars on the side. You're using your gifts, you're using your talents to bring in extra income. And so you're being successful, if that's what you want to do. Okay, so always ask yourself, what am I good at? And I'm sure if you ask yourself that and you think and you go through all the questions that I told you, I'm sure you will find exactly what you're good at, and then you'll be a success in that. I told you that I was also good at sewing. My sister Carolyn and I both. My mom taught us how to sew. And I decided when I was in college, because I couldn't really afford all of the clothes that most of the college girls were wearing, so I decided that I wanted to sew. I was going to tap into sewing. And I began to sew my own clothes. And wait, guess what happened? Other people, other young ladies on campus would ask me, where'd you get that skirt? I've never seen that skirt before. And I would use Vogue magazines. To me, that was kind of tough. I mean, Simplicity and McCall's was kind of easy to make, but I would just step out and I would try Vogue magazines. And I remember I made this jean skirt. It had this wraparound little belt. I used 4 yards of fabric. Wow, that skirt was like swinging around, and I was wearing that skirt, and I went out on the college campus wearing that skirt, and everybody loved it. And I started getting requests to have that skirt made, and I would make it and sell it to other people. And it was a success. So I had extra money using my talents to make money. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to zone in on your talents to make this extra income or just be successful. God didn't give you your hands, your fingers, your mind for anything to just sit on. He's given us all these capabilities, and we've got to find out what it is, and then we've got to use it. So I don't want to hear you say, I'm not good at anything. And I hear that a lot. And when I hear that, it's just like, oh, it drives me crazy in a way. Because I know that there's something that you can do. I know it. I just know that God didn't put you on this earth to not do anything or to give you a special talent. I want you to zone in on what it is. I want you to ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I feel good doing? What do other people say that I'm good at? If it's talking, then maybe you should be a motivational speaker. Or maybe you can have your own talk show too. I don't know what it is. You can go out and talk to people at schools. I don't know what it is. You have to find that out for yourself. Okay? And if you're a good cook, then you sell your items to make money. And just believe in yourself. Ask yourself, what am I good at? And talk to a trusted friend, someone that you rely on who will give you an honest answer, just in case you can't find it out yourself. And everything will be just fine. I know it will. Okay? Because like I said, you're special. I'm just living this life. I'm Mary J. And just talking to you today, I realize now that I need to go get my journal and start writing. Because God has given me this gift of writing. And now that I'm saying it verbally to you, I definitely have to do something. And I can't be afraid. So we can't be afraid of our gifts. We got to be strong. We got to be bold. We got to step out and say, and not be afraid. Yes, I can do this. I can make invitations. I can do writing. I can do painting. I can do this. I can mow lawns. I can build houses. Whatever it is, zone in on those talents, guys, and you will be a success in whatever success is to you. I'm Mary J. I've enjoyed talking to you today. It has been wonderful. It has enlightened my life. And I hope that I have enlightened yours a little bit through this conversation. And then also in the future, we're going to meet my husband, okay? All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a joy talking with you today, and I look forward to our next conversation. I love you guys. This is Living with Mary J.